Hey, welcome back to another episode of LLC with me, David Wintzer. You know the deal. It's another beautiful day. My God, it's a beautiful day to learn a lesson, to have a conversation about it, and to grow, because we're all trying to grow in some aspects in our lives, whether it's our financial, our physical, our family, our spiritual. We're trying to get better. And if we're not trying to get better, then we're not growing. And if we're not growing, then what are we doing? I don't know. I can tell you that. But it's my belief, as you know, if we have a conversation about it, if we're vulnerable enough to talk about the lessons we've learned, the mistakes we made along the way, that's how we grow and that's how we get better. And so that's the purpose of this Ye Here podcast right now, is to kind of share some LLCs and make sure that we all grow from it. You know, if you don't know, my name is David Wintzer. I'm a general contractor in Park City, Utah. We accumulated $20 million of work in our first 2 years of doing business, and man, did we learn a shit ton of mistakes. We learned a lot of lessons. And I'm simply here just to kind of showcase it and kind of share my passions for the things I like in my life, you know, business, golf, skiing, entrepreneurship, and construction. So that being said, I want to talk today about systems, implementing systems into your construction business. Systems are one of the number one ways that you can grow your construction company. Systems are a way that you use something that is repeatable so someone else can come in and take over that particular position. So if you have a system in place that's repeatable, you can step away, bring in someone new, and that person in turn can take over the system, and the system now is repeatable, and therefore you can hire, you can level up, you can do more projects, and you can just transfer the system from project to project, from person to person, rather than you being the person with the legal notepad, with everything's in your mind. You do everything on your iPhone, and only you know the system, and so therefore that's not transferable. That's not something that is repeatable, and that's not how you're going to grow your business. So the best system isn't always the most high-tech system. The best system is the one that you're actually going to use. People ask me all the time, what kind of software do I use? What kind of system are we using in our business? What is the best system to use? The one that you actually use. So a quick story about that. So, you know, early on in our career, we were so excited. We're going home. We're like, we're going to get some QR codes. Let's get these QR codes up on the wall, and you're going to scan the QR code, and it's going to tell you what room you're in and this and that. And we were so excited about the system. But, you know, the house we were building the plans were constantly changing, and there was a lot of communication between the architect, the designer, and the owner. And we kept getting updated drawings. The problem is we were so busy that sometimes we get the updated drawings, we'd look them over, and we'd leave them in our inbox. And we, as a team, knew what was happening in the drawings, but we didn't necessarily upload them to the cloud, i.e. the QR code. So we were working, and we didn't realize that we hadn't updated the QR code. And then we got to one of the finished stages, and the plumber had plumbed things wrong. And this is all on us. Our team was too busy. We were running around. We were young. We were green. We just gotten too big too fast, and we didn't have the systems in place. So we thought these QR codes were a great fail-safe thing, but all of a sudden we realized, like, a handful of the bathrooms, the plumbing was incorrect. We're like, what the hell, dude? Like, you had the plans. He's like, yeah, I had the QR code. And we're like, what? So we scanned the QR code, and it was like 3 revisions of plans before all the revisions that had come out. So our dumbasses had forgotten to upload the QR code. We just assumed that we had the QR code on the wall, we had done our job, and it wasn't updated. And so the plumber had plumbed to the QR code plans, which were about a month or 2 out of date. So that was a lesson we learned pretty harshly, because now we had to move some plumbing. We had to tear out a couple backsplash tile walls and move some stuff. And it wasn't the end of the world, but it cost us about 2 weeks and a couple $1,000s of rework, because we had failed to update the system. So sometimes the system is simply just spray painting on the floor. Maybe it's a sticky note. Maybe it's a text message with a picture. Maybe it's a whiteboard in the room. Maybe it's just marking on the wall. Maybe it's a laminated photo on the wall. It doesn't really matter what the system is. It just matters that you actually use the system. Complexity kills efficiency in a fast-moving job. The more complex you make something, the more you make it where it's hard to repeat, the more you make it to where people get confused or they're not going to pay attention to the system, the more the system is not going to get used. The purpose of a system in construction is it's there to ensure accountability. It's there to track the progress. It's there to eliminate the confusion. It's there to document something that's going on. It's there to make sure that everybody knows what they're doing. It's there to communicate the things that need to happen job to job, day by day. It's there to do a lot of things. Your system dictates how people know what they do and when they do it. What are they going to do? How are they going to do it? When are they going to do it? That's what the system is telling them. So the system is telling them what they got to do. This is the elevation of the cabinets. This is where you need to step this out. This is the system that tells you the schedule. This is when you arrive. This is when you don't arrive. This is the system that tells you how to do it. You know, you got to make sure that you realize that there's 3/4 inch floor, not a 1/4 inch floor. You got to make sure that the reveal is a 1/2 inch, not a inch and a half. You got to make sure that this is the schedule we're dealing with. These are the specifications we're working with. These are the things that we require out of this. This is the job site standards. When you come in here, this is our system. You scan the QR codes. You go to the whiteboard. You know, you go see the superintendent. You send out a text message. You go to this piece of paper in the kitchen. It doesn't matter what the system is. The challenge of a construction site is people come and go all the time. Job sites are filled with rotating crews of people. Painters, plumbers, electricians, tile guys, siding guys, framers, flooring guys. The list is endless of the people that come and go from a job site. They're just constantly rotating in and out. And sometimes that painter that knew your system on house one isn't there because he's on another job. You know, so his crew, he sent you David and his crew, but David and his crew on a different house that hit at the same time as yours. So now you have a different crew that you've never worked with before. Or David and his crew quit. They got fired, they moved, they started their own company. So the crew that you trained your system to is no longer there. So if your system is very, very specific, then it's going to be really difficult to transfer that from crew to crew, sub to sub. You know, these individuals, they're not part of your company on a daily basis. They're not part of your culture. They're not woven into the fabric of what your company does on a daily basis, your daily meetings. So they need a system that can plug and play instantly. They need to be able to lock in and plug into your system when they arrive on that job site. It's their first day on the job. What do they do? This system needs to provide clear direction without requiring any lengthy onboarding process. What I mean by that is a lengthy onboarding process is something where you got to sign up for the app, you got to download the app, you got to sign in, you got to, confirm with your phone number and like, oh, I got an Android, it only works with Apple. Like, Jesus Christ, this is fucking annoying. I'm not downloading the system. Screw this. Like, dude, just tell me where this hood vent goes. I just want to be out of here. Those types of systems create bottlenecks where people don't want to participate in the system. So one of my favorite things to think about when I'm building a system, when I'm writing language and documentation and job site rules and anything, is the 5th grade test. If a 5th grader can't understand it, it's simply too complicated. If you can't bring your child into that job site and say, hey, Timmy, hey, Sarah, what is David supposed to do today? What is the plumber supposed to do today? What task does the project manager need to inspect today? What's the checklist today? What's the next step on the punch list? If they can't answer that, then I don't think your system is working. If they can't answer that, it's too complicated. And sometimes when it's too complicated, it's not the right system for you. Because some people don't speak English, some people just aren't as educated, let's say. Some people just don't give a shit. Some people don't care. Softwares, QR codes, apps, they're great, but only if people use them. If people actually use them, they're way better than a 5th grade test. But that requires a lot of time and attention from you and your team to hold everyone accountable and say, hey, this is the system. This is the software. You need to download the app. So that's the onboarding process. They come on, you, the superintendent, the project manager's there. Hey, welcome to the job. First things first, like, do you guys have the app of whatever? No. Can you please go on your phone, download this app? Great. Now I'm going to send you an invitation. You're going to accept that invitation. Now you're going to go in here, and if you click this button, you're going to see plans. This is where you get all your plans. You're going to click this button. This is where you take a checklist. Then you're going to go around. You're going to take photos of your progress every day. You're going to submit it to us. That's a requirement. If you don't want to do that, well, that's what we require. And if you don't want to do that, we'll find someone else that does. We will work with people that want to buy into our system. So that's a lot of onboarding. That's a lot of attention. That's a lot of hand-holding that's required by you and your team. You got to hold people accountable because there are people on these job sites they're just not tech savvy. They've been in construction their whole life and they didn't adapt with the times. And so talking those people into onboarding the process of a system that's complicated, it's going to be really difficult. And it's going to require a lot of attention and discipline from you and your team. Now, if you guys are disciplined enough and that's the culture you have, well, then game on. That's going to be a better system in the long run. But sometimes something as simple as a whiteboard and a dry erase marker works better than a digital system. Sometimes having sticky notes. Hey, if you're blue, if you're a plumber, you got a blue sticky note. If you're yellow, you're the electrician, you got a yellow sticky note. Pink's paint, green's HVAC, red's drywall. I got all these sticky notes. And I just go around. And if you walk around this house and you see a blue sticky note, that is for you, the plumber. Read it. You have something to do in that location. There's a balance. You can use for internal stuff, you can track it with the software. But keep the field execution simple. Why the simple system works better in the field. Simple systems remove excuses. You were in that room. Did you not see that blue sticky note? No, I did. Did you not? Versus, did you go on the app and see the update? You see that little red icon? That means you have a notification. Did you read that? No. A punch list on an app, no one's going to check that. No one's going to go check that kind of stuff. A checklist that you tape to the door when they walk in and it says, David's Plumbing, read. And they see the 9 things they have to do. That's a system that is definitely going to work better. There's a lot of personalities in a construction project. There's a lot of individuals that want to do things their way. The hardest thing about implementing a system, no matter how simple the system is getting people to buy into it. But the way we're working with our team members and the way we're talking about this in our team is there are some subcontractors we're currently working with that they do not want to buy into these systems. They're stubborn-headed. And the way we're kind of approaching it is, hey, we're leveling up. We're currently building $2, $3, $4 million homes. We're starting to get work and inquiries for bidding jobs for $7, $8, $9, $10 million homes. We're looking to go from 8, 9, 10 to 12 to 15 in the next 3 to 5 years. So in the next 12 months, we will have multiple $7, 8, 9, $10 million projects under construction. That's a big graduation from where we're at. That's more than double the amount of project cost. That requires a different level of attention to detail, of care, of processes, of systems, of professionalism in running a business. We're a bigger business now. We're more established. And we're working with higher end clients, people that expect different results, different execution, different action when it comes to building these types of homes. So, Mr. and Mrs. Trade Partner, subcontractor that we work with, I understand that you have your own way of doing things. You've been doing this for years. We've worked together on multiple projects and we've never had to do this system. I get it. It's annoying. But this is what we're going to do to level up. And we want to bring you with us. We want you to come with us. But we're only going to bring the people with us that want to get better along the way. If you want to get better, if you want to grow, if you want to become part of a team that we're trying to build, well, we can't wait to have you on board. We can't wait to grow with you. But these are the systems that are required. And in all reality, these systems make your job easier. They make my job easier. Because we all are on the same page. We know what we need to do. There's a system. There's a process. There's not miscommunication. There's not, I didn't know that. No one told me that shit, blah, blah. Yeah, because you didn't buy into the system. You just came in and did what you had to do and then left. And then when we showed up, you did it wrong. You're like, well, no one was there to tell me. Yeah, had you logged into the software, had you read the whiteboard, had you seen the checklist, you would have known what you had to do. But you're too fucking stubborn to do it. So you missed a couple things, and now I got to have you come back and do this rework. So you hurt my schedule, you hurt the budget, because who's going to pay for that rework? And now, we're all behind. I had the painter coming in right after you. Now I got to push the painter off a couple days because I got to wait for your dumb ass to come back here. Now you're flustered. I'm frustrated. There's a lot of friction now. So we're implementing these systems. And so as these internal conversations that we're having with our team right now is there's people that are pushing back on this. They're like, this is bullshit. This is stupid. Like, what? Are you, like, whoa, well, you guys are getting too big, huh? Big dogs, big bosses doing all this shit. Yeah, we are doing this shit. And you either get on board with us and grow with us, or we're going without you. We're going to find someone else that wants to buy into the system, because in all reality, it actually works better. It actually makes the process smoother. And when the process goes smoother, there's less rework and you get the job done faster. What happens when that happens? You make more money because you don't have to come back and do any rework, and you do the job faster so you can move on to the next job to make more money, because that's how you make money. You finish a job, you get paid, you move on to the next job. If my job's dragging out because my system sucks and your system sucks and there's miscommunication all over and you're doing rework and we're showing up and we're having to walk through because no one knows what's going on, well, then we're all slowing down and we're all losing money because of it. A great system isn't about fancy tech. It's about usability. The true test: can anyone walk in and immediately know what's going on? Can a fifth grader, can your child walk into your job site today and understand what needs to happen today for that next subcontractor? What's that system? Simplicity ensures consistency. And consistency drives success through schedule, through time, through efficiency. I challenge you, take a hard look at your systems. Do you even have a system? And if you do, is it actually being used? Or is it just a nice idea? Shit, I got a lot of nice ideas on my job sites. I got a lot of fat that I got to trim on my job site ideas. All the fancy ideas, all the things that I thought were going to be fantastic, that we're going to grow, that we're going to implement, it's going to be sick, that never came to fruition because it was either too complicated, it was just, there was too much going on. These systems could make or break your business. But ultimately, if you're stuck out in the field, if you're stuck in the job sites day to day, running the job site, estimating the job, trying to get the sales, trying to hire the people, trying to manage employees, trying to manage the clients, and you don't got time for all this shit, well, then you're never going to grow your business because your business relies on you. When the business relies on the system, when the system is put into place that allows everyone to efficiently move through and do their job effectively, efficiently, that's when the business starts to grow. That's when you get to step out from wearing the bags, banging the hammers, painting the walls, and you get to go manage. You get to go sell. You get to go market. You get to grow the company. You get to build the business. That's what we're all in it for. That's when you become an entrepreneur that gets the freedom. Everybody quits their job and goes into entrepreneurship to make more money and have more freedom. The problem is you start out, you're not making enough money because you're not efficient. You don't have it dialed in. You're not bidding your jobs right. You don't know your overhead. That's okay. That's learning. That's an LLC. That's part of entrepreneurship. That's the scars you're going to get along the way, period. We all have them. I have them. I have fucked up so many jobs in bidding, in relationships, in execution, all the above. That's part of the scars as being an entrepreneur. That's okay. So we get into business to make more money. Well, you're going to lose money in the beginning because you just don't know what you don't know. And you're going to learn those scars and adjust accordingly. You're going to learn those lessons, those LLCs. Secondly, the second thing is you start a business to have freedom, to step away, go on vacation whenever I want. I'm the boss. I can do whatever I want, except When you step away, shit goes awry. You ain't got time to step away because you ain't got anybody to fill your spot. You ain't got time to step away because I'm the only one that knows what to do. Everyone else doesn't even know what's going on. I feel like I'm the only one that, has a hard work ethic out here. I'm the only one that has a good attitude. I'm the only one that understands what's happening. If I wasn't here, all this shit would fall apart. This sucks. That's because you don't have a system. That's because you just go, screw it, I'll do it myself. I ain't got time to build a system. Do you know how busy I am? I don't have time to build a system. I got to run 7 jobs. I'm on my truck all day. I'm on my phone all day. Well, the things that are taking the most time, you need to build a system, whether it's estimating, sales, accounting, billing, taxes, job site management, whatever's taking the most of your time, you need to implement a system and then hire a person and train them on that system. Hey, this is how we estimate jobs. These are the 25 things I need you to do. Every time we get a set of plans, you got to go through this checklist and then estimate the job. And then after you do it, go through this checklist and double check it. Then you know you did all your takeoffs right. That's the system. Thank you. That's your new hire. They're doing all your estimating. Because you sat down and wrote down everything that you've done in the past, all the mistakes you've made, all the lessons you've learned, all the things that you've done right, all the things that you've done wrong, and you've put it into an organized checklist, an organized system that someone can follow. So now you hire that person, they take over the estimating, and then thank you. I appreciate that. You handle the estimating. I no longer do that. Now I have more free time. Then I can go do X. Then I can learn the system for out in the field. Here's the superintendent checklist. Here's the accounting checklist. Here's this. I'm going to hire the person. Welcome. Here's how we do it. Welcome to the team. Here's how we do it. Here's the system. Now you have time. Now you as the entrepreneur can step away. You can go to Mexico. You can have a couple margaritas. You can come back and nothing fell apart because everyone followed the system. You got good employees to manage the system. The system is key. When you're starting out with the system, internal systems are different. When you're hiring high-skilled employees, people with college educations and, accounting backgrounds and estimating backgrounds and, construction management degrees or whatever, and you're hiring individuals, the system can be more complicated. But when you're out in the field, when you're dealing with language barriers and individuals that maybe aren't as tech savvy, keep the system simple. Can a 5th grader understand it? And if so, the system passes the test. My LLC today, my lesson learned for today's conversation is don't overcomplicate it, man. Just keep the system simple, because if you want to have that entrepreneurial dream, making more money, stepping away and having more free time, well, then you need to have a system in place so that system runs itself and other people can work the system while you step away and enjoy the fruits of your hard labor. So that's all I got. There's so many lessons to learn in this episode. I mean, the biggest lesson is that Tiger Woods no-showed again. It's disappointing, but you know what? That's how it goes. He's busy. I get it. I'm busy too. So our schedules just aren't lining up, but you got to stay tuned next week because that's right. 15-time major champion Tiger Woods will be on the podcast. If you haven't already, please rate and review this. Just drop some stars. Give him a comment. Do something, please. I really would appreciate it. I just need this thing to get a little bit more momentum organically. And the way we're doing that is through your comments, your reviews, your stars, and maybe share this with someone that has a shitty-ass system. I love you guys. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.